All right, we about to get into the playoff preview. 2019 playoffs are officially underway. So we got Hawk joining us for this segment. I'm not even gonna waste time getting into it. The Nets and the Sixers faced off today, and the Nets walked away victorious.
Yes, they did. Very much so.
I can't say I'm surprised about it.
Me either. Not really, because Embiid was hurt. Plus, I think Brooklyn coming in with a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
And with Ben Simmons not being able to stretch the floor for them, it leaves them like weak on a certain side. So it's easy for Brooklyn to manipulate that, especially when you got a guy like Jared Allen who can switch off the guys and D up a guard as big as Ben Simmons as well as the center in Embiid. You know what I mean? So I think I like them for the series if they could snag another one after this home game. What y'all think about it?
So I'm not sure when Embiid is looking to get back. I'm not sure when they're looking to get Embiid back. If Embiid can come back sooner than later, then I think the Sixers have it wrapped up. But yeah, I mean, the Nets just pose a lot of matchup problems for the 76ers. And the 76ers just not a perfect team coming in.
The thing with them is, man, I think they lack. One thing they do lack for me is like the mentality that Jimmy has. Like I think all those guys are too cool for them to actually prosper. And in actuality, in my opinion, other than Embiid, I think Tobias is the second best player on that team, and I don't think that they highlight that, and I think that's part of their weakness.
You think Tobias here? I guess so, in the sense of skill wise, but
okay, so clearly Embiid and Ben Simmons are elite. Clearly, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm talking about night after night, every night, no matter who you're going against, he's giving you 18 and 5.
Right.
Tobias is.
Correct.
So for a guy like that, you only got him for 1 year. Like after this year, you don't know if he's gonna come back, if he's gonna re-sign with LA, what he's gonna do. So this year you gotta maximize everything he's gonna give you, especially if you got Embiid out and then Ben Simmons can't shoot. I need Tobias Harris taking 25 shots a game minimum. And Brooklyn did not do that. I mean, Philly did not do that at all today. Jimmy had to carry him, and if Jimmy's carrying you, he's probably the fourth option. That's never okay.
Never. As good as Jimmy is, he's a defensive talent first and foremost. Offensive game never got polished.
Never.
So
the thing is, he always had a good group of guys surrounding him that could carry that load for him. Like he had Cat Wiggins, and then when he was in Chicago, he had Beck and Rondo and Wade. And then earlier than that, he was Ryan Rose, you know what I'm saying, for a minute. But if he doesn't have a premier offensive talent on his team, he doesn't play as well. And then in Philly, when you have guys who aren't sure of their role yet, and Embiid and Ben Simmons, those two are trying to figure out who the leader is, and then you got Tobias who's playing for a contract and solidification in the league. So for him, I don't like that mix, and I think we're gonna see him with Bron after this playoff run.
So let me ask you this: with the improvement of D'Angelo Russell, do you think the Nets have a chance to take this whole series from Philly if Embiid doesn't return?
Yes, because the Nets are young. Spry, their coach, is very good at development, as we can see. Nobody other than college basketball fans really knew who Jared Allen was coming out of the draft. And he's blocking LeBron, Giannis, James Harden, you name it. Great perimeter defender. Then you got Karis LeVert, who had that freak injury, but tonight he was a second leading scorer. I think he had 16 or 18 points, something along those lines. And then you got a young savage in D'Angelo Russell, who is
yes, sir.
Ready for the moment, who's just ready for any moment, any opponent, any matchup, anything. I think their fearlessness and honestly their lack of experience in the playoffs will propel them to beat the Sixers.
So
just off adrenaline and young talent.
What do you got it finishing out in?
I say Nets in 6.
Nets in 6. That's bold.
Because if they could get a win in either of these next two games, I can't see Philly building up that momentum.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like, if they can't get Embiid sooner than later, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. That's their guy. That's Hakeem. You know what I mean? They need that.
If Embiid comes back, do you think Philly takes it to at least the Eastern Conference Finals, or do you think they get bounced before then?
Here's what I tell you. I tell you, nobody's going to the Eastern Conference Finals except the Bucks and the Celtics. Point blank, period.
Why do you think that?
Why do I think? Well, one, I'm a Celtics fan, so I'm kind of,
Biased motherfucker.
But just as far as, like, I think in the playoffs, a key thing is depth. And I think one thing that Philly and Toronto both lack is depth. And I think Boston and the Bucks have probably the two best squads on the team. I'm talking about from 1 to 12. I think 1 to 12, you put those rosters up against any of those guys in the East, I think Boston and the Bucks just reign supreme. Plus the year that Giannis is having and the year that Kyrie is having, they just, when it comes down to the wire, those guys are getting the ball and they're winning the games. I don't see that from any other team in the East. Even the Raptors, because Kyle Lowry is invisible when it becomes May. So
that is a fact. That's one thing I'll say that negates Toronto's chances of going far in the playoffs is Kyle Lowry. He has never proven himself in a playoff series.
And another thing we got to highlight is the fact that Kawhi is very reluctant on, saying he's going to stay or if he's not. Like, we just got a report yesterday that said that he's not sure if he's going to stay in Toronto. Now, I know, as a Boston fan, I know how this affects the locker room. And if there's uncertainty in any one of your teammates, it's never going to go well. And you could probably date back to high school sports. Like, if you had a quarterback on your team and you wasn't sure if he could really pass the ball, like, you're not really going to look for the ball as much. You're like, man, this motherfucker ain't going to get this shit off. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a lot of that in Toronto right now where it's like Kyle ain't going to show up and we don't know if Kawhi's going to stay and we don't know what the fuck the state of this franchise is. And Siakam's a gem, but we don't really know what he is as far as, like, his role on the team. Like, is he going to be a leader? Is he going to be a good glue guy? So it's a lot of uncertainty on that team, and I think Toronto's window closed once they traded DeRozan. Even though they got Kawhi, I think trading DeRozan was the closure of the window.
I can't see that being a closer because, I mean, you have Kawhi, you have all these other pieces. I think they're way better this year than they were last year or the years that they had DeRozan.
They are. But the thing is, all that could separate because you got Kawhi that could possibly leave. You got Kyle Lowry who he may not leave, but I can't see Toronto still wanting him if he has a bad playoffs this year. I can't. Like, I can see him getting offloaded to the Grizzlies for a whole bunch of picks before I see Toronto letting him stay there and ruining their experiment with Kawhi. So it's very dependent. I shouldn't count Toronto all the way out, but it's very dependent on the performance of Kyle Lowry. And I think Kyle's performance will actually decide whether Kawhi stays or not, because that's his number two. If you don't got no faith in your number two, bro, Ibaka not going to do it for you. Sorry.
No, yeah, I don't think Toronto's even in the same category as half the teams in the East anyway. I really wouldn't put Toronto towards the top, even though they are, I think. But, I mean, I kind of agree with you, though. I think Milwaukee probably has the best chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the Finals, because, I mean, let me touch on this, what you said earlier. Do you think Giannis is your MVP? Do you think he has a chance to win the whole thing?
He has a chance, but if we talking about who deserve it, bro, you gotta say Harden, man. And I hate the way Harden plays, but 36 points a game, that ain't no slouch, bro.
So, and you obviously know I disagree. And I think
you do?
Yeah, I definitely disagree. I think I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if Harden got the award, but I think that Giannis, wire to wire, has been more consistent. Houston got off to a little slow start. Giannis is better defensively. He better affects the defensive side of the ball. Harden's not even top 50 as far as defensive rating goes.
No.
So it's just tough for me.
It's all about how you look at it, because for me, you know how I'm looking at it? When Chris Paul went down and they released Melo, you know who showed up. Granted, the slow start. I understand. I even had them making the playoffs after Chris Paul went down. But I think that you got to add in the resiliency factor. Like,
That's
I get
a
the
fact.
defensive thing. I think if we always gave the MVP to a two-way player, LeBron would have every one. We know that.
Right.
So, like, as far as, like, the defense argument, I get it. But, like, to me, I think resiliency is key. And the reason I give Harden a slight nudge on Giannis is because, let's be frank, the whole year the East has been like a question mark other than the Bucks and the Raptors. Like
That's
up
true.
until maybe about February is when the playoff picture really started shaping up. But Giannis ain't really he ain't really overcome shit. Harden had to deal with Melo leaving, who was his third option. Then Chris Paul went down for like 2 months, and he still managed to, I think, have him around 500%, if not slightly over during that period, which is impressive. If you include the fact that, remember, last year they lost Mbah Moute and they lost Trevor Ariza.
But I think that's a testament of Giannis's dominance throughout the whole season.
Is it a testament of his dominance or his roster as a whole? Because I feel like Giannis had a more solid roster than Harden, and Harden made fucking cupcakes out of fucking shit. So,
I mean, we can go there, but
no, we go all day. But the thing is, neither one of us is wrong because both guys are very deserving. Like,
that's a fact.
Right.
Giannis,
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Giannis playing on both sides is a major factor in what I would probably use as my vote. But the fact that this motherfucker Harden is averaging 35,
36,
got
bro.
that team out of 36, and then got them out of the mud. I can't not. You know what I mean?
I feel it.
Thank God I'm not voting. Thank God I'm not voting.
I guess after 08-09 when D Wade finished third in MVP voting, it made me look at the way the criteria for the MVP now. Because if you look at it, it's always who has the better record, and it's like the better team.
Right.
So I'm looking at who they would give the award to as opposed to maybe who I might think deserves it a little more.
Who they would, I would say they probably gonna lean towards Giannis because I think what the NBA is trying to do now is create a lot of stars. You know what I'm saying? So also when you give a guy like Giannis who's from a small market team the MVP, that boosts the visibility of that franchise, that city, and most importantly that player. And you can market that player as a marquee player, and it's more money for the league.
More money for the league, and it boosts the small markets, period.
Yeah, it does.
Exactly. So if you give it to Harden again, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? He deserves it. But I think if the league is doing, like, business, which is kind of what I think you're alluding to, like, kind of picking the best sports, like, the best spokesman for the league, like, best record, best team, you know what I mean, like you were saying? I think if they're going to go that route, it most likely might be Giannis. But this is one of the toughest ones. It's probably tougher than last year, honestly.
Yeah. So we just gonna go a little touch and go the rest of the series. As far as Raptors and Magic, what's your outlook on
4-0?
4-0? Sweet, get them out of here. I got you. And I'll go the same route. EDJ, what you got? Sweet.
Yeah, that's too easy.
Put them in the dustpan, throw them away.
That's too easy.
Yeah.
Orlando, no, not a chance.
Celtics and Pacers.
Yeah, we got them at 5.
You got them at 5. I would agree with 5. Pacers have been too resilient all year to go out in 4.
They're not gonna go out in 4 simply because they got good bigs. And if you notice about Boston, like we don't play well against good bigs. Like Sabonis and Miles Turner, like that's gonna be tough. They block shots, they get to the rebounds. It's gonna be a tough series. But I think all 5 games will come down to the wire. I think Boston got it in 4. I say Indy probably takes the first one because losing Marcus Smart is a big, big, big deal.
Yeah,
And I think Boston defensively is going to be kind of clueless until maybe game 2 or game 3. So I'll give Indy 1, and then after that, probably the clean sweep.
And one of the great trends for Boston right now is the fact that Gordon Hayward is playing great basketball for you guys.
Yep, that's our best facilitator. I told you that at the beginning of the season. Fuck a Kyrie. That's our best passers. That's our best offensive runners.
So since we're on the subject of Celtics, you posted to our WordPress page, "Let him walk for the children."
Yeah.
Talking about Kyrie.
Yep.
So what do you see that? Where do you see that going after the season?
All right. So here's my thing. I love Kyrie as a player. Like I wear this nigga's shoes. Like I fuck with Kyrie. But I think as far as for the growth of the franchise and the situation that we have now, where we have young studs and Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, we could possibly be ending up drafting a guy like that big from Gonzaga, the black guy who's Japanese as well, or we could get Bol Bol. That core that core will never grow playing behind a Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, and possibly an Anthony Davis. You get what I'm saying? So while Kyrie is not necessarily detrimental to us right now, I think for the future, say if we sign him to a 5-year deal or 4
Yeah.
out, I think that stunts the growth of both Brown, Tatum, and even guys like Smart. And, we got 4 lottery picks. I mean, 4 draft picks this year, 4 first-round picks. So those guys aren't going to be able to grow. They're going to be reserves. That's not good for a team that's we're rebuilding, but we're competing at the same time. We never really seen it before. And the Lakers tried to do it, but they fucked it up. They dropped the ball. But I think Kyrie is on some shit where he wants to be the guy. He wants to win championships. And that's fine, but I think for where Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are, it's not best for the growth of them.
I don't really think Kyrie really wants to be the guy anymore.
No, I don't either. I think he realized what the fuck it takes, and he was like, "Oh shit, I was wilding.
Yeah,
I had a movie. I won a championship. Thought I was the shit, but I can't lead a team, and that's fine because I don't think Kobe was necessarily a leader. I think motherfuckers just followed Kobe.
Fair. I agree with that.
And I think that's who Kyrie is. I think Kyrie thought he had to be, I'm the leader and I'm going to lead these guys. Nah, motherfucker, just ball the way you ball.
Yeah, just play.
Let motherfuckers eat the first and early second half. Go forward and do your thing. That's what we did with IT.
Right. So basically what you're saying is, before we get on to the next one, is that you'd rather see Boston build for the next 10 to 15 years instead of for the next, 3.
Most definitely.
Right.
Most definitely, because I feel like the future is brighter with the team built around Tatum than it is around Kyrie.
So Bucks and Pistons, what we got? What we got for Bucks and Pistons? I see that that should be a sweep.
That's a sweep.
Dustpan special.
I think Blake Griffin's out, so that's a sweep.
Oh yeah, that's not even.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the East settled. Now we're gonna head to the Western Conference.
What's up?
What's up? Let's get into the Nuggets and Spurs.
This was tricky, and here's why. I like the Nuggets. They had a great season. They spent most of the season in first. But you got a veteran coach in Popovich. You got veteran guys, DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. Going against a team like that in a system like that, where you got a whole bunch of inexperienced players like Jokic, who's known to be soft and not really a good defender. You think LaMarcus Aldridge not going to eat him for 4 games?
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Then you got I like Jamal Murray and I like Gary Harris, but I don't think either of those guys are well defensively. And the Spurs have a pretty good lineup of wings. They got Rudy Gay, they got DeMar DeRozan, another guy. I wanted to say Kyle Anderson, but he on the Grizzlies. They got another guy there that I like. So I just don't think the Nuggets match up well. I feel like I'm being too wordy.
No, I think man, you good, bro. It's all right. We own this shit, so you can be as wordy as you want to, bro. But as far as the Spurs go, it just goes back to what you said. Popovich has been in this situation time and time again. Mm-hmm. He's tried and true, and I see the Spurs winning in 6.
And you know what's funny about the Spurs, bro? Whenever they do good shit, it's never their best team. You ever realize that?
Facts. It is always when you count them out.
Yup. Mm-hmm.
EDJ, who you
know
got?
That as a Heat fan.
Oh, we throwing big shots in this motherfucker. All right.
Yeah, this is probably one of the harder ones to pick because, Denver is such a younger team and a really talented team. It's probably one of those teams that's going to be one of the wave that attempts to knock the Warriors out at some point. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Spurs. I like Popovich. I like the Spurs team, and they're older, but they're experienced, and I can't see Denver being at that point yet where they're good enough to get a run in the playoffs. They're still too young, and they're not experienced enough to beat a team like the Spurs just yet.
How many games?
6.
6?
6.
Spurs in 6?
5. I say 5.
5? All right.
Yeah.
Now this is a little bit tougher. Actually, a lot tougher. Probably a lot tougher. We got Trailblazers and the Thunder. And I think they're deadlocked as far as matchups. And if you're in terms of star power of Russ and Paul George, I think it's a great balance when you're looking at going against Donovan Mitchell and the defensive-oriented Utah Jazz. So I think it's going to be a tug of war.
It's OKC and Jazz or OKC and Trailblazers?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Trailblazers. You got it. It's Trailblazers and Thunder.
Still good matchup wise.
Great matchup.
But let me. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I got him confused with the Jazz, boy. I'm fucking up around here. But as far as the Trailblazers go, I'm gonna go with the Thunder simply because Russell Westbrook has that advantage over Lillard that LeBron had over KD earlier in his career.
Fair. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so this one's an interesting matchup because I think the peak of this matchup would have been if Nurkic was healthy.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
Nurkic not being healthy makes Steven Adams and all the other bigs the X factor because other than Nurkic, they don't really got no bigs. They got guys like Myers Leonard and Caleb Swanigan and even the other guy from Zach Collins.
I think you have Canner off the bench though. That could fare nicely.
Oh yeah, but he don't play defense, so
that's fair.
The matchup may be good, but he won't do what he's supposed to do, and that's where that ends. But I like the duel between Russ and Dame, and I like the fact that Paul George has a chance to step up as far as caliber because I don't think anybody on that team can hold him. So it's all on him to really just go off and then defer to Russ when he needs to.
Yeah. I mean, if Paul George shows up, I think Oklahoma City wins this series because I'm sure Westbrook's going to show up. I think he wants to see Kevin Durant at some point down the line.
Yeah.
So I would say probably Thunder, and I'd give him 6, Thunder and 6.
I say 6 too.
Yeah, same 6.
6. You're...
Nah, we ain't doing that 6.
No, I'm talking about the Mafia, bro. I'm talking about the Mafia.
I got you. All right. So, Rockets and Jazz, another intriguing series. You got the Rockets, who's basically leaning a lot on James Harden. That might be an understatement. And you have the Jazz, who's playing a great defensive system basketball. They got tried and true guys, tough guys, blue collar like Ingles, Crowder. So this was a tough one for me.
All right, here's my take on this one. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to look like a fool if he picks up Harden. And I think as well as the Jazz are defensively, I think D'Antonio got a trick up his sleeve, and I think he's just going to set Harden loose. And I think if they can't stop him, they won't stop none. Promise. I think Harden and Chris Paul both realize, like, if not this year or maybe next year, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is the year. No holds barred. But in that series, I take the Rockets and I give them 6. Simply because of Gobert.
I kind of want to go against the grain here. I want to pick one upset, and I think it's going to be the Jazz over the Rockets. Simply due to the fact that I think you know who James Harden is, and as good of defensively as Utah is, I think they're going to find a way to hold him down. And Donovan Mitchell's, extremely talented. So I feel like this is going to be probably the longest series in the first round.
Yeah.
And I think Utah's going to take it in the last game. Barely.
Yeah.
I'm with EDJ. I got Jazz taking it in 7. But here's the thing. I know this pick lies on the fact that Donovan Mitchell has to play consistent leader basketball.
He has to look like D-Wade.
Exactly. And the one knock on Donovan Mitchell is that he plays erratic. There's times where he can score 30 in 30 shots, or he can give you 40 in 15 to 20 shots. It's a matter of what Donovan Mitchell we're going to get. If he can be great D-Wade with a shot, Donovan Mitchell sort of just taking it up a notch from what we've seen in the playoffs last year, I think Jazz can take it in 7.
You know why I feel bad for Donovan Mitchell? They never sent him a real good vet to Utah. And I think that's what he needs to understand how to control his game and how to pace himself. I think he needs a good guard vet that could teach him how to starting when to go. That's why, like, if like, say Miami didn't have those ties to Wade, you know, as emotional as they were, I think it would have been cool to let Wade, you know, I know Wade probably wouldn't want to go to Utah, but have Wade go there and mentor him for a season. I think that would have been really cool and very good for him. Or even a guard like D Rose. You know what I mean? Something like that.
That would be nice.
Cool. Yeah. Yep.
So you got Rockets in 6, EDJ, and I got Jazz in 7.
Yep.
Warriors.
I'm writing this down because I want to tell y'all when I'm right.
Man, we'll play it back. If you write too much, we're gonna delete it though.
All right, cool.
All right, so last matchup we have the Warriors and Clippers. I don't think it's a debate on who's gonna take this series, but how competitive can it be?
Not very.
I don't think it'll be very competitive. I think we'll have a competitive first quarter, and then after that, you know, they'll realize where the fuck they at.
Another dustpan special.
Yeah.
Another dustpan special.
I can see the Clippers getting one, just because I think the Warriors probably will fall asleep a little bit in one of these games, because this is going to be really boring for them. I think they're just way more talented than the Clippers. I think this is going to be... so I'll give them 5 just because I think the Warriors have a tendency to fall asleep now and again in a quarter or two. So I'll give them in 5, but that's just being nice, I guess.
See, my thing with that is, any other year I would agree with you. But there's 2 things weighing in the balance. I think KD's determined to prove that he was the best thing that ever happened to the Warriors. I think Steph is determined to prove that he's actually a Finals MVP worthy player.
But couldn't that get in the way? Couldn't that get in the way of things, though?
Nah, and you know why? Because they both gonna get the ball anyway.
That's a fact.
Steph gonna get 30 shots if he want it. KD gonna get 30 shots if he want it. And I think when it comes down to the wire, it won't be it's my ball, it's your ball. I think they both have the ego to be like, all right, this is the right play. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
I really think I think we're gonna see an internal battle between Curry and KD this playoffs.
And you think it's gonna work out in the best way possible for them?
I think they still win the championship. I think KD leaves, of course, but I think there's some ego in it because Steph has never won a Finals MVP.
Yeah.
And this guy comes to your team and he gets 2 Finals MVPs, and yours got stolen by your 6th man.
Boy.
Now, KD wants to leave there, but he doesn't want to leave like, they gave me those championships. He wants to be, I was the best player on that team. 3 Finals MVPs will show you that.
So is that a knock on Curry's legacy? That he doesn't get a Finals MVP if he doesn't get a Finals MVP?
If he never gets a Finals MVP, I won't knock him, but I know the media will because it means something to them. But Finals MVP is kind of contingent on matchup and series. You know what I mean? Like, if all right, so say Steph Curry is playing in the finals against Gary Payton, and then KD getting guarded by Sean Kemp. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Who do you think is going to win Finals MVP?
KD for sure.
It's contingent. That's why I don't really like it.
I feel it. I'm going to knock that nigga, though. Regardless, I'm going to knock that nigga. If you don't win a Finals MVP, I'm knocking that nigga. Because if LeBron doesn't win a Finals MVP any year,
that's a fact.
He's going to get criticized for it.
That's a fact.
But, man, we appreciate having you on. This is probably the first time we really discussed. Uh-oh. You about to do it?
One question for me. I need you to answer one question, bro. One question.
Let's go.
How the fuck do you have the highest payroll in the NBA and you missed the playoffs and let the Magic and Pistons slide in?
Can Pat not fuck up?
Huh?
Pat can't fuck up?
Who can't fuck up?
Pat. Pat not allowed to fuck up?
No. You know why? Because Pat missed out on Gordon Hayward. Y'all motherfuckers thought y'all get him. He missed out on the Blake trade. And then I don't blame y'all for Chris Bosh, but I do blame y'all for bringing D-Wade back. I know that's harsh.
What you mean you blame us for bringing D-Wade back?
He came back on a discount deal that was smart. But I think this was the year where you were supposed to let Josh Richardson and Winslow just go.
We can let them go next year. They clearly wasn't ready because D-Wade gave them every opportunity to go. Here you go. Win the game for us. Josh Richardson fumbled it time and time again. Winslow, go for us. Winslow showed growth, but he's not there yet. Then you couple that with the fact that our best player only played 36 games with Andragic, who has been our best player, has only played 36 games. It's gonna look a little yikes.
What about Whiteside though?
What about him?
25 million.
Keep that nigga another bad Pat fuck up. This whole roster, aside from Justice Winslow, Bam, and Josh Richardson, is a fuck up. It's a Pat fuck up. How do you pay James Johnson, Deion Waiters, and all those guys that money?
I was going there, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. My point wasn't to really ask you that question. My point was for you to explain why the Heat are fucking trash and why Pat Riley needs to go.
Pat Riley doesn't need to go. Pat Riley doesn't need to go, but there's definitely some fuck ups.
But I will say this. As far as potential with Bam, Winslow, and Richardson, I think you could build around that and snag some stars if you could get Whiteside the fuck out of there.
Yes, I'm with you. Heat Nation agrees with you.
To like $14 million a year. Like, what the fuck was that?
A lot of fuck ups, man. But you saying a lot from somebody we ain't seen win in about 10, 11 years, though.
You said what?
You saying a lot for a fan of a team we ain't seen win in like 10, 11 years. That's all I'm saying.
And that's fine because the team that won after that was built to stop my team. And you know what else is fine? My team is in the playoffs as we speak, and they're looking like they're going to the finals. So it's fine, Randy. It's fine.
Going to the finals, winning the finals.
I don't know if we win it. I ain't say that. I said we going.
That's what I'm saying. Going to the finals, winning the finals. I'd rather win.
Mean, shit, y'all won twice, and then y'all lost to the Spurs, and then y'all lost. Who else there?
But we won.
Oh, the white ass. Y'all lost to the Spurs one year.
Yeah, but we won championships.
Yeah, we won one too.
Yeah, one is cool. we gonna cut Hawk off, man. We appreciate having you on the show.
No, thank you for having me, bro.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. We look forward to having you on. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. All right, man. Take it easy. SchroBanks out.
I appreciate this opportunity.
Yes, sir.
You're